Hey everybody, this is Jeremy Siskind. I'm the author of these books, Jazz Piano Fundamentals, books 1 and 2, and playing solo jazz piano, which I was very honored, here's my transition, that Edward Simon, my good friend, gave a really nice endorsement for playing solo jazz piano. Hey Ed, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Jeremy. Good to see you.
So, for those of you who don't know anything about Ed's career, I mean, the biography is a little bit too big to even get into, but he's played with so many luminaries, including being part of Terence Blanchard's bands, right, being part of Bobby Watson's bands, and now a part of the SF Jazz Ensemble. Are you the longest tenured member of the SF Jazz Ensemble?
I am,
You're the
believe
old
it
man of the
or
group now.
not. Yes, I am. I think it's been 14 years now.
And he's just put out so many amazing records, including trio records with Scott Colley and Brian Blade, these incredible chamber collaborations with groups like the Amani Winds, and latest solo live, which is it your first solo piano album?
It is my first solo piano album, and it's live. It was recorded here in Oakland at Piedmont Piano Company, which is a really nice venue with some beautiful pianos. It was recorded on a Yamaha CFX,
Mm.
and with a very intimate, small audience. And there's some standards, some monk tunes, uh, Billy Strayhorn, Lush Live, and just one original of mine. So it's really, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, and I got to hear you do solo live recently at Sam First in LA, and the playing was just so beautiful and original and fresh. So I certainly recommend it. Um, but I've asked you here to share a favorite exercise with me. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, what do you have?
So this exercise, is one that can be extended and utilized in as complex as you would like, let's say. So I'm
Okay.
going to show you the idea of it in a very simple, with a very simple example, and you can quickly see how it can be applied to, more extended forms,
Awesome.
And basically, it's an exercise to help pianists build independence when playing an ostinato bass, which
Okay.
is a very common tool that we as pianists need to have as part of our pianistic skills, right? Because one of the beauties of this instrument is that we can function both as a bass, as a horn player, as a harmonic instrument, as a percussion instrument, all of that, right? So it's a really good skill to have this ability to feel free to improvise with our right hands while maintaining a left hand ostinato. And the way I like to go exploring that is by choosing a simple ostinato at first that I can then go through all of the values, the note values on my right
Mm-hmm.
hand to
Mm-hmm.
gradually play against that ostinato. That's what helps me to build a kind of coordination and independence between my two hands that is needed in order to feel more free to improvise while maintaining that ostinato.
Nice.
So,
I'm excited about this because I've noticed that you're very good at this skill. So I'm excited to learn.
so as an example, I want to give the Baião rhythm, which is a Brazilian rhythm that many of you have heard and encountered, and I love this rhythm, and uh, it consists of a dotted quarter in 4/4 time, a dotted quarter on one, an eighth note on the end of two, tied to a quarter note on three, and another quarter on four. All right, and it sounds like this. It's if you've
Mm-hmm.
heard something like that, it's very Brazilian, but we use it in all kinds of music. In Latin music, we use the Baião rhythm as well. So it's very useful. And what the exercise consists in maintaining that simple ostinato on the left hand and then playing first whole notes on the right hand say over one chord initially. And then half notes. And then quarter notes. And then quarter note triplets. And then eighth notes. You know, and if the tempo was slower, you could take this on to even smaller subdivisions, right, or smaller values. You know, whatever you can manage. You know, it's just a little too fast just to play something a little, 16th notes. But um, once you have mastered all of those note values over one chord, then the idea is to apply it over a harmonic progression. And so I'm going to use the harmonic progression for blue bossa, That's basically the idea. Now that we're talking about right now, let me switch back.
Yeah.
We're talking about a one measure long rhythmic phrase on the left hand. But you could make it a much longer ostinato pattern as well. And that's when that's when the plot thickens.
Okay, before we do that, maybe you can walk me through doing that much, and then I'd love to hear how the plot thickens with you. So I went ahead and I wrote out that I guess that needs to be a quarter note rather than an eighth note, or rather than a whole note. So that's the rhythm and the notes that you're playing there, right? Okay, so first, let's see. So first, just whole notes. How do I know when to switch to half notes? Just whenever I'm bored?
Whenever you feel comfortable, you feel like you've mastered the whole note, move on to half note.
How are those half notes?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
and
then
quarters
quarter
next?
notes, quarter notes. Great. And then quarter note triplets. Great. Fantastic. Then when that's comfortable for you, then you want to apply that principle to a harmonic progression, to whatever that might be. I was using blue boss as an example. It could be a minor blues. It could be any tune that you're working on.
Okay, yeah, let me try Blue Bossa. Let me see if I can do it. So, I'm just gonna kind of go through that cycle. Start with whole notes. After a few measures, go to half note. Maybe off 4 measures each or something like that. Okay. Something kind of like that.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So I've tried something similar,
Yeah.
and one rhythmic unit that you didn't suggest that I found really helpful, and I'm curious if you've experimented with this, is offbeat quarter notes. I find that sometimes that's one of the hardest ones to find
Oh
in there.
yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. Definitely, you can explore that. So the whole quarter notes on the end of one and end of two.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
Those are half notes, at least the way I'm thinking of it.
oh sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
yeah.
really interesting, right? It
Yeah,
lines up
yeah,
in
yeah.
some unexpected ways.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely,
so that's
definitely.
one that I've experimented with.
Yeah, it's a good way to start your ideas as well, you know. Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Cool.
So, again, this is like a principle that can be really expanded, to a much bigger idea, Just to give you one example of a phrase that's a little bit longer that I
Hmm.
use. So this is one that I use over in 5/4 time.
Okay.
And it's over a 1/4/5 for one progression, which is a
Okay.
very common progression in Latin music,
Hmm.
right? So this is an F major,
Okay.
and um, the quarter note is down here, and
Oh.
the downbeat, the top note, the A is on one. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five.
Wow,
So
that's nuts, man. I was thinking, I'm gonna just quickly notate that, but I spent like the whole time figuring out how the heck to notate. Did I get kind of close?
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
I would never feel the one on that A with my Western American like brain. Never ever. It's so cool. So how would you do that same exercise? Can you walk us through the steps? It's a little weird because it's in five. Like
It's a little weird because it's
whole
in
notes
five.
maybe
So
wouldn't be the way to
yeah.
go.
So let's see how I managed it. 'Cause I haven't done that in a long time. But I will start maybe with quarter notes since that's kind of a. Or you could start with. See, if you start with half notes, they're gonna go over the bar line.
Right.
So that in itself can be an interesting exercise, you know.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can do that. There it is. And then move on to quarter notes. And then quarter notes. That's quarter note triplets, I think, right?
But that also doesn't fit evenly
No,
into the pattern. That's
no.
like half notes.
That's
So
right.
that's
That's right. So,
would you ever start you like with a traditional 5/4 clave, or does that not even really match up
yeah,
here at all? Because
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
seems like where I would start. That's the easiest thing. Dot 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 dot
yeah.
dot.
Well, no, well, so the clave that corresponds with this
Yeah.
it's an interesting one. It's like
Okay.
one, da, 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 one, two, three, four, five, ba, 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 ga, ga, da, 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 da.
Okay. So if I
So,
were trying to notate that, it's 1 and 2,
right.
and then dot
Yeah.
like kind of matching that bass there.
Yes,
Dot
right.
dot, and then 5 and like that.
No,
No.
almost. The second to the last note should be on the last 16th of
Oh,
before.
I see. So it's kind of the similar rhythm to. Uh, sorry, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
But so
Oh,
but uh 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 but
almost, almost, not quite.
uh.
Jeremy,
What's wrong?
Jeremy, so the last note, you had it right before. The last note is on the end of five. It's an
Okay.
eighth note. But the note before that is actually
Oh,
on the last 16th
I
of
see.
beat
My bad.
four.
Okay, so it's 16th tied.
I to an, yes, that's
So
it.
can I go uh 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 uh
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it.
wow. Is there a name for that?
Not really. It's a 5/4 clave. You know, anytime that we're altering the original meter of a clave, you know, there is, how should we say, there could be some variations as to how people come up with a clave, you know,
Uh-huh.
because it's not traditional. So this just is one version of a 5/4 clave. And it's 2/3 in direction because it's starting with the two side first. So it's one, two, three, da, da, ga, ga,
Yeah. Okay.
ga.
So could you do your exercise with that?
I mean, sorry. So yeah, it would be sort of like
Woo!
that, you know. But
Uh-huh.
interestingly enough, I mean, aesthetically speaking, that's not something that I find very attractive because for us, the clave is something that's more implied and felt, and not
Mm.
necessarily we want to play in a very obvious way.
Yeah.
As an exercise, is an excellent one,
Uh-huh.
but you know, musically, it's not, or stylistically, it's not something that we would necessarily want to play in a Latin kind of setting, let's say.
Yeah.
But
Cool. So here, probably quarter notes, eighth notes, those are going to be the ones
yeah,
that are good to practice with this.
yes,
Okay. I
and
have
this
a. Oh, God.
and the half notes is also cool because they go over the bar line.
Yeah.
That's an
That
interesting
takes
thing as well.
some skill, man. Do you want to show us quarter notes and eighth notes with this? I want to hear
Yeah, sure.
it if you would. And by the way, if you're changing camera angle, your head was getting a little in the way of the keyboard. So I don't want to ask you to lean back, but as lovely as your head is, we do want to see the keys.
I was starting to get into what you were talking about before, like playing quarter
Mhm.
notes on the end of, that could be really cool here too.
Oh,
You know,
that's tough. That's cool though. Yeah,
so
it was kind of wild when you were playing quarter notes. Like, this rhythm is so foreign to me that the quarter notes felt syncopated themselves. Like when you were playing them on the beat, it felt more like they're on the beat when you played the offbeat ones.
yeah, I think the reason for that is because this particular bass line pattern has that downbeat on the third of the chord. The
Right, on the
third of the
higher
chord
note.
on the higher note.
Yeah, which is also the third. Yeah, so it really feels displaced. Now, there's another element to this that I wonder if you've done. And when I was in New York, kind of, this was a thing that I remember hearing a lot of people do, which is that they would always reverse the hands as well. That you wouldn't just practice, but you'd also practice. And I know that you studied with Sophia a little bit as well, and it's
Yeah,
totally like a Sophia reverse the hands thing.
yeah.
Do you do that as you're practicing ostinatos, or do you think that's just like a
No,
party trick?
that's I don't really do it that much. I've done
Yeah.
it. I've explored it just for the sake of the exercise of really of reversing thing and trying to get my hands to be equally, dexterity, let's say. But
Hmm.
I don't find that is something that I would use very much musically, because
No, I think it's just an
just as an
exercise.
exercise. Yes,
I
yeah.
think so, and I think it helps sometimes just get your like it helps your brain get some clarity as to like where things fit together. I don't know.
And you know what else that does is it um, helps you develop your left hand more as a melodic voice.
Sure.
So to function as a melodic voice, as opposed to as a bass line, which a bass line is also a melody, but it's a
Mm,
melody that lives in the bottom range,
sure.
and it functions differently in music than a melody, right?
Right.
And so by reversing the hands, it changes the function of your left hand, and it allows you to develop this ability to hear your left hand more as a melodic voice. That is definitely useful.
Yeah. Totally. Well, Ed, before I conclude, I think people are going to want to know, because this is so compelling what you just showed us. Is there a title of a piece? Have you played this piece? Is there something that people, if they want to hear a final product of this bass line, is there something people should look up?
Well, the piece, the 5/4
Mm-hmm.
left hand montuno is one that I use on an arrangement of the Peanut Vendor.
Oh,
It's a very famous old Cuban song, and I recorded that arrangement on an album that came out a long time ago. I think in '98 or 2000. It's called La Viquina. Uh,
say that name again.
La Viquina.
Right.
Laikina.
All right. Ikina.
Viquina.
What
Yeah.
does Ikina mean?
It's a name. It's a proper name of um, a woman in this case, and it's a famous, actually it's a Mexican song, but that was popularized by a Venezuelan artist, and it's the title track on this particular album that has a lot of great players on it: David Benny and Mark Turner and Adam Cruz and Ben Street on bass, and it's
Killer.
really a wonderful recording. And so we there's an arrangement of the Peanut Vendor that has this ostinato bass line going on throughout.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that's a good example. It's not a solo piano version, but
Uh
still
huh.
you can hear the soloing over that ostinato bass line.
Beautiful.
And then on the new album, on the Solo Live album, there's other ostinato bass lines that I play. Um, for example, the one that happens over a Lush Live by Billy
Mm-hmm.
Strayhorn. That's another beautiful one. So people can check that
You do
out.
like something.
Yeah, it's like this.
Yeah. Right. But Chick does that on Bush
Chick,
Life too,
yeah,
right?
I got
Yeah.
it from Chick. It's really
Yeah.
his idea, his arrangement, and I just completely stole it.
Yeah. Great. Steal from the best. Well, Ed, in that spirit, thankful to steal a little bit from you today. Thank you for sharing. And everybody go check out his album, Solo Live. You won't regret it. And we're going to have you back for some more videos and exercises soon, okay?
Great, great. Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
Joe.
it's great to see you,
Great
man.
to see you too, man.